and if somebody joins in at any point, they can join in partway through. All right, we got a couple people here. So I'm going to get going, everybody. And if you have any questions, like I mentioned, raise your hand, put a question and answer in the Q&A box, and I'll get to them when we're done with the presentation here. So let's get started here. So welcome to the Mastercam 2021 rollout from MACDAC Engineering. As you know, many of us are in our home offices or trying to keep some social distance here. So this year, we don't have any beer. For those of you guys who have been following us for a couple of years, we've been doing summer brewery tours, as we called them, and tying our rollouts into that. But just because of everything going on, I don't have any beer for you this year, but I won't stop you from cracking open a cold one on your own while you're working. I don't have one in front of me because I have to talk, so that's it here. So I'm Dave Matuszek. A lot of you guys know me. I'll be presenting today. I've been a machinist pretty much since I was a teenager and came into this a couple of years ago. It's a little bit about me. I've been a Mastercam user since 1995. That's version 5.5 of Mastercam. I came to work for MACDAC in November 05, so I'm going on 15 years at MACDAC Engineering. I've worn many hats at MACDAC. I started off, I was a support manager, then I was the trainer, then I was a salesman, then I did marketing, then I was in training again, then I did sales again, and now they gave me a really cool sounding title of Senior Sales and Applications Engineer. Now, what does that mean? It just means I'm the utility player. I do a little bit of everything. I do a lot of on-sites. I visit a lot of shops. I also fill in for support, fill in for training. I do sales demos. I do everything but the books, pretty much. And I really don't want to do the books. So a little bit about me outside of MACDAC. I've owned a small farm up in Lineborough, New Hampshire since 2016, and that's where I am right now. I also am a semi-professional furniture maker, and I instruct on some weekends there. There's a school where I do some instruction up in Keene, New Hampshire. I'm an extra class ham radio operator. And I enjoy hunting and fishing. That's one of the reasons I love New Hampshire. And I also get a strong interest in traditional film photography and home brewing, but I have a 3-year-old who's now taken away all my home brewing and darkroom time. So I really don't have an extra 10 hours to spend on anything anymore. But she does like to help out on the farm and help out in the shop. So good little girl to have around. So a little bit about MACDAC Engineering for those of you guys who don't know. We're a veteran-owned small business. We were founded in 1991. So we're going on 30 years next year. We're the largest New England-based CAD/CAM reseller. And we have 2 full-time support staff members as well as a full-time Mastercam trainer and applications specialist. And I'm that applications guy. So if it's more of a applications issue, you might end up talking to me, and chances are I'll end up calling support at some point because of some computer issue. So that's kind of the difference there. And our sales team includes 2 inside sales reps and 2 sales engineers. One of those is me. The other one is Alan. Most of you guys probably know Alan Dupre. And we also offer a full line of Dassault system products such as CATIA. And we have our own line of OEE and IIoT tools called Accelerant. And I really think I forgot to start recording my screen, so I'm going to jump in and out real quick here. Oh, I didn't. Thought I did. Sorry. I needed more caffeine today. I should be having an extra cup of coffee. So a little bit about CNC Software, founded in 1983 by the Summers brothers. And Mark and Brian are still a little bit involved in the country, but they're semi-retired at this point. And Mark's daughter, Megan, is now the CEO and president of Mastercam. So they are still around. They're the last independently owned major CAD/CAM developer. A lot of the other CAD/CAM developers have been bought out by major corporations like Autodesk and Hexagon and some other companies. So they currently have over 150 employees. They're based in Tallinn, Connecticut, so they're also New England based. And they also have offices in Washington State, Switzerland, and China. So just so you guys know, Mastercam development is driven by your feedback. You are what drives our development. So if you come up with ideas, suggestions, questions, you give us a call. We'll work around with you. We'll get it over to Mastercam, and they'll start developing it if they really see the need for it. So what are our goals of this rollout? One, demonstrate the power of Mastercam, help you be more productive with some of the new features in Mastercam, and gather some valuable feedback from you guys, our end users. So what's the constant about Mastercam? What's the constant thing that's been going on in Mastercam now for over 30 years, almost 40 years, 36 years, 1984? Mastercam is purposely developed to provide leading edge and relevant solutions to you. That's been their goal for 30 years, to keep you guys productive. What's new? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to kind of go through what's new and some highlights that you can find from the What's New document, which is very good here. So some general enhancements are where I'm going to start off, and I'm going to go through design enhancements. And this afternoon, come back for our rollout at 2 p.m. And Nick Nikolov, one of our support specialists, is going to be going over Mastercam 2D and 3D mill enhancements. Cool feature here, auto hide large prompts and the new bounding box feature here. So let me start my video here. So auto hide large prompts. Mastercam has some of these large prompts. You've always been able to move them around. You've also always been able to change the font to a small font, make them a little smaller. Medium font. I've now reached the age where I need reading glasses, so I usually just leave it on large font. They added in this new feature here called auto hide. So you can see what that did is it auto hided that prompt. So when you move your mouse over, it'll become bigger, but you can hide it to keep it out of the way. So that's that new auto hide large prompt feature. And here in bounding box, another new feature here is that you've always had rectangle and cylinder, but a new one's called wrap. And it wraps around a shape using a minimum material condition. I'm not 100% sure of the math, but you can see how it wrapped around that piece by a silhouette boundary or a minimum volume to create a mesh. And you can see what they did right there in that bounding box. So that might be handy if you're dealing with some multi-axis parts or some really complex shapes and defining stock or a bounding box around them. You can add an additional offset. It's kind of going through, showing you guys some of the features there. All right. Another new thing here, Raster to vector, the C hook that allows you to take in line art and put some geometry around it, is no longer a C hook. It's integrated with the software. So I kind of just show that to you. In Mastercam 2020, you either had to hit Alt-C or go to Run Add-in, find the Raster to vector C hook, and then run it. So that was in Mastercam 2020 and earlier. In Mastercam 2021, I don't have to hit the Run Add-in. I can just go to my wireframe tab and hit Raster to vector and go find wherever I saved that image. And I can run it directly inside of Mastercam. So there's no longer a need to bring in those files like that. A little quick trick for Raster to vector. It works best with things that are just black and white. Not necessarily work that great with color images, because it traces out based on the brightness of something. So black and white line art is really, really where it's at with that C-hook, or now menu item. They've changed around the note function a bit here. They redesigned the interface, and you can still, if you bring in a file from an older version of Mastercam and need to edit a note, you can. You do have a legacy note button there that allows you to edit that legacy note here. So let me just show you how that works. And I can change the height and get a real preview of it as I'm doing that. I'm in a metric part, that's why it says 100, it's not 100 inches. I can pick a true font for my note, and I actually can fill that font in, italicize it, and change the justification of it. So that's the new note command. And under the Advanced tab is where you actually put in your leaders. So I'm going to add in a leader here. Before it was create note and create, I believe, label to do that. So now you can do it all in the same command under the Advanced tab. Drafting note. I'm just playing the same video again. Okay. Another cool feature here is you can save a file as a 3D PDF. And that allows you to take a 3D model inside of Mastercam and save it as a PDF that anybody with the Adobe Acrobat viewer can open. So let me show you that here. I'm going to have a 3D part here, and I'm going to go File, Save as 3D PDF. There it is down there, 3D PDF. And I'll save it. I already had it saved, so just so you know, the only option here is just to open the PDF after saving. So here it is already saved. I'm going to open it up here in Adobe, and now I have a 3D PDF that somebody can view, zoom in on, and get a 3D representation of that model without having to have Mastercam or another CAD package installed in order to view it. So it's a good way to be able to send the model over to somebody else for them to look at it, approve it, take a look at the part. So that's a new 3D PDF function. Another cool thing under chaining is display selected arrows. So you can see all the arrows when you're doing a function. Another new one here is solid chaining enhancement. A new feature here is if you picked a loop and it was behind the solid model, you couldn't necessarily see the entire loop. It would be blocked out. Now it'll show you the back face of the part if you select that loop. And a couple things under C-plane that you'll see here in the video here. We also can do a dynamic start point in solid chaining, which we couldn't do before. And you'll see that in a little video. And a couple things, and that applies to lathe chaining, shared edges, and loop selections in reference faces. So you'll see that here in a second here. So I'm going to change some things on this model, and you notice by default I only see the last chain that I did. But if I hit this display all arrows, it shows me every arrow in my current function there. So that's what that function does. That can be really handy if you're just trying to remember what direction you had things going in. Now before, you could only put the start point of a chain at an endpoint. Now in solid chaining, you can do dynamic start points. You can move the start point of this chain anywhere you want along that chain, rather than just at an edge. So that's a very handy little feature they added in there for solid chaining. Quick one under stock model. I love stock models here for doing anything complex. In the past, if you forgot to name your stock model, you it basically would alarm on you, and you had to give it a name. Now it has a default stock model name. It's just called 1. But at least you have a default name. So if you forget to name it, you won't get that alarm. Now, the other cool thing here, just to be aware of, is the 5-axis only checkbox under stock model that you might use to just track the tip of a 5-axis tool when generating the stock model has now been renamed mill flutes only. So just kind of keep aware of that. That's just been renamed. Another cool feature under Zip2Go are these new Mastercam content files, and I'll show you that in a second. So here we go. Where's my mouse? There it is. So Mastercam 2021, I forgot to name the stock model, and it keeps giving me alarm, and I have to go in and give it a name. Mastercam 2021, it has a default name, so if I forget to do something with it, it has that default name there, so I don't have to keep getting that alarm pop up on me. Now here under the Zip2Go utility, I have this create Zip2Go file, and we have zip, Zip2Go, and Mastercam content file. Now what the Mastercam content file allows us to do is it's an executable file, so when it creates the Zip2Go and you send it to us, on the support side, we only need to double click on that file in order to open everything up and put everything in the correct place. Now the other cool thing about it is, let's say we send you a post. We can just drag that right onto your Mastercam screen, and that loads that post in, for example. So if we send you data, post processors or something like that, there's no need to open up all your shared folders, go looking for everything goes, and cut and paste and putting everything in there. You can just do it with that content file. It's just a matter of dragging and dropping. So that's that new Mastercam content file, a very handy little feature there. I like that one a lot. Couple new cool things under design here. We have allow multiple solid bodies for hole selection in solids. And we also have under mirror, create X and Y axes at the same time. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to mirror this. Now before, in the past, if you mirrored a part, you could mirror it about X and then have to go mirror it about Y. But here I can offset about X and Y at the same time. So that's the old way of doing it. I'd have to do 2 operations, or now I can do them both at once. Let's take a look at that new solid selection here. I can go to hole axis. I can turn on, well, first of all, if I click the holes, it picks every hole the same size on that one solid model. So I have to click around quite a bit. The new way of doing it, I can turn on this Allow Multiple Solid Bodies button here. And when I click that, it picks that same size hole or identical hole on every solid body. So now instead of 8 clicks, I did that in 2. So that is the new multiple hole selection feature for multiple solid bodies there. Another cool one here is this new Edit Flowline feature, which allows you to change the U and V directions or the patch direction on surfaces independently of the surface here. And I can reflow them. So let's take a look here. Now, there's a surface model right there that I'm changing the patch on, rotating it, changing the number of patches. Here's reflow, where I can take this and change the direction of the U and V lines. And I can also flow it along a curve. You may be saying to yourself, what could I ever possibly ever use this for? And to be honest with you, I had the same question. And then I watched our webinar we're actually going to have this afternoon. And we had a really good use for that. If you do any amount of Flowline surface tool paths, and sometimes you have patches that just aren't quite lining up, you get a very weird Flowline tool path out of it. This tool allows you to realign that surface so you can get one smooth, clean Flowline cut along your surface there. Couple things under solids. Detecting, creating custom holes, detect holes and add history, and you also create holes with no history in them. So let's take a look at that. So this is a dumb model. It has nothing in it. It's just an engine block model, and I'll go to my model prep, add history, and I'm going to add in holes. So that added in a whole bunch of hole features that I can go in as custom hole forms, go in there and edit them. So I'll go ahead and edit that one. We're in older versions of Mastercam, it just would have made that a extrude cut function rather than a hole function. Another thing here under my hole wizard or hole command, if I create a hole, it doesn't matter what size, I'll go to advanced, and there's this no history button here. First of all, just so you guys know, if you create a no history hole, it deletes all of the history from your model in order to make it. But then I could create a hole on my model without any history. So to keep it a dumb solid here. So just a quick little recap. Bounding box minimum size, new feature, new note function, new solid hole history, add history, no history modeling, and the reflowing of surfaces are the biggest design features there. All right, so here's my contact information. Again, I'm Dave Matuszek. We got Senior Sales and Mastercam Service Engineer, and my email is davem@macdac.com. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. And again, I'm going to try to get this on YouTube. And that is that. So let's see if we got any questions here from anybody. All right, I don't see any Q&A and no hands raised. Does anybody have any questions? Give you guys a minute to think about that. Again, I will get this on YouTube and get that upload for you. And yeah, within about a half hour, that's what we expect it to do. Oh, we do have a question. Thanks for the presentations. Thanks, Jim, for the compliment there. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me. Feel free to give us a call. Feel free to call me. I think if you need, did I put my cell phone number in there for you guys? I did not. I'm going to add that in for next time. But my cell number, for those of you guys who might need to give me a call and ask me a question, is 413-237-5235. Right? Yeah, I probably didn't put that there because I'm putting this on the internet and I don't want to get a lot of weird phone calls from people in the middle of the night. It'll happen. Trust me. So everybody have a great day. I'm going to end the webinar if there's no more questions. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys at 2 o'clock today for our 2D and 3D milling enhancements. And I'll be in touch. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.